I think we're live. Zandra, are you with me?
Right.
Yes, I think we're
Yes.
live. All right. It's funny to actually handle everything like that. Okay, yes.
Job.
Uh, so we are seeing people on YouTube. We are seeing people on Facebook. Um, to our maybe future students on YouTube, can you see us? Can you hear us? Say hi. And on Facebook, please let us know if you can hear us and see us. I believe you can. But so I am Ludo Farage, founder and chief executive officer of Nucamp. And with me today, I have Zandra Kubota, who's one of our advisors. Hi, Zandra. Thank you for joining. And so there we go. Yeah. Let's get started. All right.
Nice.
So we're going to walk you through today an overview of Nucamp. As you can see, we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. The way it's going to work, and there we go. The way it's going to work is we're going to walk you through a few slides. We're going to kind of share the story of Nucamp for about 30 minutes. And then the last 30 minutes, we're going to take all your questions that you will have asked on either YouTube or Facebook. So don't hesitate to write down your questions. We're going to look at them, Zandra and myself. Like I see Marco is here, Karen is here, Daniel says hi, Peter is here, Sean as well. Good afternoon for you, Sean. Where is afternoon? Oh yeah, I guess it's probably afternoon if you're East Coast right now. So yeah, write your questions either on YouTube and Facebook, and we'll get to them in about 30 minutes. All right, so let's get started. The very first question people ask is, oh, well, what is Nucamp? I mean, you probably all know that Nucamp is a coding bootcamp, but beyond that, what is it about? And we actually like to say that we are slightly different than any other coding bootcamp in the industry. And one of the reasons is we are very strongly socially driven. And the mission that we set ourselves to accomplish is to offer almost universal access to coding education wherever you live, whatever your background, and without most of the risks that you will consider otherwise. And so that's really what we want to accomplish. And if you check out our website, you'll see that we are in many cities, not during COVID, unfortunately, but as soon as COVID is lifted, we'll be probably in your city. So right now our coverage is actually 180 cities in the US. And we do that by offering the most affordable coding bootcamp in the industry. Not only is it affordable, but it's also very flexible. The formula is part-time. That means that you don't have to quit your job. You can actually join online during the week. And then we also have a weekend experience. And so during that on Saturdays, and I'll get into the details, you'll have an opportunity to meet with your fellow classmates, your instructor, and work on your code. And then last but not least, if you check us out on websites that do coding bootcamp reviews, you'll notice that we have more and more every day, every week, reviews from students. We are rated number 3 right now in the US and growing. And we actually have the number 1 rating out of the 3 at 4.77 on Course Report. And we're extremely pleased with that, obviously. So you have to understand that Nucamp really has a special place in the coding bootcamp industry. And if you're thinking about joining a coding bootcamp or learning to code, we really want you to understand how different we are. And for that, we're going to compare ourselves to what I would say will be 2 extremes when you consider learning to code. And the very first approach, the one that's easily available to you, very affordable, very flexible, is of course starting online. And many, actually 50% of our students start online when they actually want to code. And as you probably already know, starting online can be done from wherever you live. You can live in a big city or a small town. You'll be able to kind of get a $10 course on Udemy with 200 worth of learning hours. That really creates an immediate access to that learning and that path and that journey for you to become a web developer. You don't have to quit your job, obviously, when you're starting online. It's very inexpensive. So a lot of really great things come from that approach. The downside, and it's a significant downside, is that only 3% of students who start online and want to follow that path actually succeed. And the reason is, even though it's very affordable, very accessible, there's a total lack of support. It's really difficult to stay committed on your own without, having classmates, without having an instructor, without having a real structure that's going to tell you you're going to start on that date and on that date. It's too loose in a way of an experience to really allow you to stay committed, work through it. And then when you have an issue, it's really hard to get the answer that you're looking for. So online is fantastic to get started. Online is affordable. Online is accessible, but you may want to start there, and chances are, unfortunately, you may not end there. And so what you will consider maybe will be on the other side of the spectrum, and that is what we will call the traditional bootcamps. And traditional bootcamps are very much schools, schools with a campus, with full-time professors or instructors. You drive there in the morning, you leave in the evening, or sometimes you sleep over because it's so intense. And this is a great alternative, really, to learning to code, because it really immerses you into that world full-time for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, and you're going to learn a ton during that time. So it's a great alternative. However, it also has huge downsides as well. And so one is, well, first, there needs to be one where you live. So those schools are not covering the full United States, the full population of the United States. They are going to be concentrated in a few big cities. And if you live 20 miles or 30 miles away from it, then you're going to have to consider a huge commute, for example. Another significant downside is they're going to be full-time. So if you have a job, maybe a job that doesn't pay that well, but still pays the bills, you're going to have to contemplate quitting that job. And that's a big risk for many folks out there. And one that you really, really want to think through, because you're making a bet that not only you're going to quit your job, but that after that, you're going to get another job pretty quickly that's going to be better than the one you had. And yes, that happens quite often, but that's a bet. That's a significant bet to make. And then the last downside and the last risk that you're contemplating is paying 10, 15, and sometimes with some contracts, even $40,000 for the experience. Now think about that. A 3 months bootcamp that costs $40,000. That's $160K a year. That's huge. That's huge amount of cost. I mean, you could go to Harvard or Yale for that amount in a year. And so you really have to think about, okay, is that investment worth it? And even though you may think about, repaying that later on if you get a job, it's still a huge amount of money. So these are all the things that really you are faced with when you're searching for a coding bootcamp. Caught in between a rock and a hard place, we say. Great, cheap, affordable online, very immersive, but very expensive, tons of risk if you're considering going the traditional route. And so obviously, I think you saw where I was going. We took the best of those two worlds. We took the best of affordability, flexibility, ease of access from the online world, and we took the best of immersive, committed, the structure that you get when you're going to the traditional bootcamp. And we blended that together to create Nucamp. And so the result is, well, a very highly rated bootcamp, as you saw, part-time, not expensive, like less than $2,000 for getting into our bootcamp, with plenty of financing options, and a structure that really places you in a classroom with 11 other people, a dedicated instructor that really makes sure that you're always committed. You have a start date, you have an end date, and all that. So that's very much how we think about Nucamp. And I see the questions here. Thank you, Sharon, for saying hi. Karen, we'll get to your question in about 20 minutes now. Okay, a little bit of history. We started in 2017 in the state of Washington. We've enrolled 5,000 students ever since. We've launched 1,500 different bootcamps, which is kind of amazed that we did that myself. We have 250 plus instructors. Actually, we're getting closer to 300 now that are really with us on an ongoing basis. And we right now deliver 100 workshops on Saturdays, and I'll describe what the workshops are about in a minute, but about 100 workshops every Saturday across the United States. Check us out on Course Report. We just crossed the 800 number of reviews, which is significant. And so, yeah. And Karen, I see your question about French speakers. Yes, although I'm not teaching that much anymore. We have 3 bootcamps tailored to your level. So if you're a complete beginner, if you've never started, if you've never learned to code, well, first we'll suggest, spend some time online, buy one of that Udemy course for $10 and check it out, right? See if that's something you actually like. But you can also join our Web Development Fundamentals Bootcamp. It will teach you the fundamentals of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in 4 weeks. And then we have our advanced bootcamps that are really meant to prepare you to get a new job. So if you just do the 4 weeks, not enough to get a new job in the industry, although you could be lucky, but we won't recommend that you just go after a job after just 4 weeks. But then that will prepare you to join our 17 weeks or 22 weeks bootcamps. And Zandra actually is going to go into the details of what those bootcamps are about. Okay, we have announced about a month ago now our fair student agreement. And so we have really a good list of financing options right now available to you. Our best deal is our, I will say, historical financing option, which is a payment plan. So you will pay monthly, no interest, no credit check, no question whatsoever. That payment plan, the best deal, is available to anyone. But we also offer now kind of student loans. But when you think of how low our tuition is already, and you apply a student loan on top of it, we actually are able with that to offer students to just pay $8 a month while they're learning, and then just like $85 to $89 per month after graduating. So very flexible payment options. And you can actually find more about those online. So the best deal is available to anyone. The student loan options are provided through a partner, Climb Credit. And yes, there is a credit check, but we allow every credit score. So we don't really, we don't decline if you have the lowest credit score. But you could still be asked to, invite a co-borrower and things like that. And so we realize that sometimes, actually very often, it's a challenge. And we have a special scholarship, actually. If you are declined our student loan, we'll actually try to win you back in a way, and try to see if the best deal works for you, and actually apply a scholarship for you because you were declined a student loan. So we're really trying our best to offer you the best pass to join our bootcamp. Let's talk about the curriculum a little bit. As I mentioned, we are part-time, and we are also pre-COVID, we are also in person. And so let me get to that. Part-time means that from Sunday to Friday, and yes, we count Sunday as kind of a learning day. There is no rest for, what's the expression about? There is no rest for, Zandra, help me out.
The weary? The rest for the weary?
There is no rest for the learners. Let's go with that. So from Sunday to Friday, you learn online. We have a weekly, daily structure for you. You'll do video lectures, coding exercises. You will work on your project portfolio. It's about 1 to 3 hours a day. It could get up to 4, 5, 6 hours a day when you're in the midst of what we call React, which is kind of a beast. That's the main piece of our bootcamp. And during that time, you have access to a dedicated instructor as well as the broad. The wicked, Karin, thank you. There is no rest for the wicked. Um, so you have access to a dedicated instructor as well as the community. On Saturday morning, what used to be an in-person experience before COVID, you'll join your fellow students, your instructor live for 4 hours, and you'll work on your coding assignment that week. And then it's a rinse and repeat. Every week, you do the same thing, and you progress throughout your curriculum and your bootcamp that way. Nucamp instructors, this is really our secret sauce. These are the people that are making everything possible and are really inspiring our students as well. And if you go online and read the reviews, you'll see how much students actually make reference of their instructor. And Cody was great, or Henry was brilliant, or I learned so much from John. And that's because our instructors are not full-time instructors or teachers with us, which could sound as a bad thing when actually it's a great thing, because they are full-time in the industry and they have decided to spend time helping their fellow community and others in their communities to actually get to the place where they are. So they are really doing that out of passion. They are really doing that out of compassion. And they're, most of them, even though of course we compensate them, they're not doing it for the money. Like they will not need that money, really, honestly. And so you have access to instructors who are going to be very empathetic with you, that are going to be up to speed on the latest of what's relevant in the industry, are going to provide very relevant local advice. And I say local again, when I think about post-COVID, how those instructors are actually local to your city. And they're going to bring also different perspectives. So some of them are working in startups. Some of them are freelance. Some of them are working for the government. Some of them are working for Fortune 500 companies. And throughout your journey, you'll be exposed to 3, 4, 5 different instructors that are all going to bring, that wealth of background experience to you. And again, this is really something that's special. And you can actually see that for yourself as you read our reviews.
Nice.
All right. Well, that was pretty much my piece. Zandra is going to walk you through now a few additional slides. And Zandra, there you go. That's
Thanks.
you.
All right. Nice job, Ludo. And thanks for introducing all the great instructors that I get to work with. So if you are here with us, thanks for joining us. Remember, we're going to take your questions shortly, and you will be learning a lot of JavaScript with Nucamp. And JavaScript is the top language to learn if you're going to be a web developer. You might learn other programming languages, but you're always going to be confronted with JavaScript at some point if you're in the web development space. It's been the top language surveyed for quite a while now. The average salary that you'll be starting at across the country, so take it with a slight grain of salt, is $70K. And again, this varies depending on your location, the cost of living where you are, and if you're working at a nonprofit or if you're working at a Fortune 500 company, as Ludo was mentioning, there'll be some difference, but that's a national average that you can expect to see. Looking at our website, nucamp.co, if you haven't been there, perused it yet, please go ahead and do that. There's a lot of good article in our blog. You can do a search if you type in your browser bar site:/nucamp.co and then a space and then getting a job. That should take you there. And you can also, you can see lots of stuff on our blog there. Okay, thanks, Ludo. So I'm going to talk about what you're going to actually learn what is the web development skills that we're going to be teaching you. So in the fundamentals class, if you're a beginner, you're going to learn the basics: HTML, CSS, basic JavaScript. And HTML is, I frequently like to use the house analogy. If you're building a house, you have your concrete, your foundation, you got your studs, wall studs, and you have your roof, all that good stuff. That's the HTML, the frame that everything else is going to hang off of. CSS, cascading styles sheets. You're going to have your paint, your carpet, drapes, and furnishings. And then JavaScript is kind of like your electricity, your water, all the mechanical parts that make the house livable and function and actuate things. So that's what you're going to learn in the 4-week class. Then you'll be ready to join either the front end or the full stack course. The front end course actually is a subset of the full stack course. So a lot of you have called on the phone, and I've you're trying to get the difference between front end and full stack, or some people even think full stack is our full offerings. Actually, full stack is an industry term that refers to someone who can do both the front end, what the user sees, and the back end, what the user doesn't see, just to oversimplify things a bit. So in the front end course and in the full stack course, you're going to start with Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a CSS framework that is so super convenient. You're going to love it. Um, oh, you're going to hate it sometimes, but you're mostly going to love it. And it helps your page be what we call responsive. So even though your page is static and it doesn't really do that much, doesn't really have much interactability, if that's even a word, it'll be responsive. That is, it'll change depending on what size display it's in, whether it's on a little phone or a huge 4K TV or a laptop. Um, the images will resize automatically. The text will spread out to fill the wider screen or contract to fill the smaller screen. So that's responsive sites with Bootstrap. The next course you're going to go into is React. And React, as Ludo mentioned, I think is a beast. It's a hairy beast too, but it will get your page out of static land and into dynamism. You're actually going to have pages being generated by the user's interaction with the page, basically, to simplify it. So you can have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages. You have large websites, and you'll have the responsivity because you'll combine it with Bootstrap. So that's React. It's probably the most popular web framework. Um, you might have heard of some other ones like Angular or Vue, but if you're looking for a job in 2021, you want to know React. So the last bit of the front end course and the second to last bit of the full stack course is the mobile development section, which is going to cover React Native. And React Native is React's little cousin, I guess, or I don't know if that's an accurate way to put it. It's developing for mobile. So you use React Native to build apps that are going to be on mobile devices like phones and tablets. Um, I won't say too much about that because I'm not a React Native specialist in any sense of the word, but you can read a little bit more about it at our website, and Ludo can talk a little bit more about it if you have any questions. And lastly, the server side, what we all love. You can graduate here, stop here, and start looking for a job. Either way, you'll want to start looking at jobs, but you can stop at the front end here, or you can go on to our full stack uh, course and do the back end with Node.js. We really love Node.js, all the lovely Node packages. You're going to learn a little bit more about that. And Express, you're going to learn how to integrate your data with the front side of your applications. You're going to learn how to connect your database, MongoDB, and you're going to do some authentication having password protected sessions and having different users with different profiles in your apps. So that's about it for the curriculum. Yes, and now as we discussed, what are you going to build? You're going to have all these portfolio projects to show to potential employers. And now Ludo is going to show you one or two examples of what you might build.
Hey, yeah, thank you, Zandra. So, of course, people ask, well, what do we do during the bootcamp? What do we build? What can we show employers? And so let me walk you through a few of those. Well, first, you should know that by going to our YouTube channel, and most of you are on YouTube right now, so there is a playlist called Student Projects, and these projects are from our students who graduate with honors. So we haven't mentioned that yet, but we have two levels of graduation. We have the regular graduation if you've completed and passed all the assignments. And then you have the graduation with honors when you actually showcase your project. So these projects here are from the students who have graduated with honors. And so there's one project here that's about pretty much data management and data visualization. I'm not going to play it fully, but you'll see. Oh, okay. I think I just switched to the other one. Let's go. Let's do this one. There we go. So there's a ton of, there we go. Including confirmed cases, estimated recoveries, and total deaths since day one. Using this selector at the top of the web app, COVID Watch fetches data from the country field and returns a list of all the countries in the world. There we go. So there's a ton of REST APIs as well. There is one project that I find really interesting. It's a Pokemon project. And I find it very interesting because it really provides a very rich front end, very visually appealing, I would say. So let me actually go there. There's actually, all those cards here. There's a Node.js backend. So yeah, I mean, what I would say is just have a look. Go check out our student projects playlist at Nucamp. And chances are you'll be also one of those showcased here in 4 to 5 months. Back to you, Zandra.
Nice. So with that having been watched, you can go there after and check out more of those projects. You can sign up for our boot camps. We have boot camps starting every 5 weeks. You can register in your locale or your region. We have courses sorted by region as well, Eastern, Pacific, and Central. And the next early bird deadline is January 25th. So that's coming up this Monday for the fundamentals class. Don't worry if you miss it because you can catch the next one 5 weeks later. Even if you miss the early bird deadline, the price is still pretty reasonable, so you might just want to go for it. All right, and as Ludo already mentioned, we have some scholarships available. So you can go to nucamp.co/scholarships and you can check out which one applies to you. We have one for Warrior Rising for veterans, and we have Career Karma, which features a laptop. We have one for recent high school grads, and the New You Scholarship for those who are struggling with being approved for credit. We have something that might be able to help you out. So take a look at those options there. Yeah, and also we have included in our already wonderful pricing, um, we have career services. So if you are already thinking about what kind of company you might want to work for, small company, large company, working for yourself, even being a founder, you have an app idea, start thinking about those from now. We have a great employment rate. 78% of our students employed 3 months after the boot camp. We are noting, we are seeing challenges with COVID and we're anticipating going into post-COVID. We have seen so much contraction across multiple industries, sectors, and that has affected web development as well. So start thinking now about your job your job targets, and you can email us for more about that. You can also, one of the top services we have is a career coaches. So you'll be able to schedule time after you graduate with a career coach who will talk about the subject of your choice. And we offer a career development program where you can actually learn how to set up your LinkedIn, how to set up your resume, how to uh, talk to um, inter- interviewers, and lots of wonderful things like that. We also have an exclusive job board in our Slack chat, and we have ongoing and uh, outreach towards employers who realize how wonderful our graduates are and that they should be working with us to get our students in their pipeline. You also have lifetime access to the course material and the community, which I think is super huge because you can do so much networking on our Slack if you're methodical and determined. There's so many people you can talk to. So that's about it.
All right. Well, as promised, 9:32 here, where we just finished the first half of this open house. The second half is all about your questions. And Zandra, I was going to actually start by answering Ivan,
Yeah.
who asked, I think it was earlier in the open house, about the application to getting a loan with Climb Credit and having actually a pretty good credit score, but still being denied. So Ivan, what I can tell you, and I'm not the one making those rules, but I had a conversation, of course, with Climb Credit. We are not refusing based on credit score, but I know if you have a bankruptcy in the past 5 years, that will be an issue, and you may actually be denied. And if you have delinquencies, and I don't know if there's a timeline for that, credit delinquencies, of course, then you may be denied for that as well. So I don't know if that helps answer your question. Obviously, looking at your credit score alone, you should be approved. But if you are in those situations of bankruptcy or past delinquency, you may actually hit those roadblocks. And as I said, we're really appreciative and sorry when that happens, because it actually kind of goes against what we're trying to do here. Student loans are what they are, and they are, there's legislation, there's rules and laws about those. So that's the way it is. But when that happens, as I mentioned, and actually Zandra mentioned that as well, we have a scholarship that's available for you, where we're trying to make it easier for you to then get into our what we call the best deal. And so check that out, I will say. Zandra, do you see another question?
Yeah, I see a question very early from Ask Cox. How much discussion and collaboration do you incorporate? So, good question. I know in the fundamentals class we do a lot of discussion. The first 30 minutes of the Saturday workshops, we have a slideshow kind of review of the week's material, and we get a lot of good any questions that you weren't able to message to me to your instructor during the week. You're able to discuss those, and during the workshop where you're actually building and coding, you're not really just coding in 100% silence. You're able to ask your fellow classmates in the session, what what are you up to, or how did you solve this, or did you already complete this portion of the assignment. So there is some discussion and collaboration. I see a lot of that in the Slack. People actually message on the open Slack channels and ask to partner up. Sometimes in class, I believe you will occasionally be partnered up. So Ludo, if I didn't cover that completely, you could jump in there too. But yeah, there is discussion and collaboration, definitely.
That was perfect, Zandra. I'll move on to two questions that are connected from, and I'm going to pronounce it the French way, from Karine Barbie, uh, regarding looking for a French-speaking coach for a 13-year-old son. Oh, did I make up son? Yeah, your son. Um, so there's a few things to say here. Well, the very first thing is our boot camps are really only for adults, so 18 over. We are not able to actually host or welcome underage teenagers. So unfortunately, that will not work just for your son. Um, the second thing is we place students in a classroom environment with an instructor, which is different from having a one-on-one tutor, for example. And so what you were describing here was more of a tutor type of service than it is really a student being part of a classroom. So um, I'm sorry, we probably won't be able to help there. But I thought, I mean, your question actually kind of helped provide those answers for the broader audience.
hmm So I see a couple of questions here. Keegan Surface, thank you for the compliment. Great business model. Yeah, we like it. And I see Sean Swoboda. If you pay in a lump sum, is there a discount? No, we don't have a discount. We have an early bird discount. So if you pay, if you register early, 2 weeks or more, it's kind of like buying a plane ticket. The earlier you buy it, the better your price is going to be because we incentivize that early registration. And you can also send an email after you pay the initial registration amount and just say, please charge my card for the balance, the total balance, if you'd like to pay in full.
Great. There are a few questions and comments regarding the web development fundamentals bootcamp or 4 weeks bootcamp and how that compares to the Udemy course. And then there's a few conversation around, the cult steel course on Udemy. So I would say uh, we really want you to have those fundamentals nailed before joining either the front end or full stack bootcamp. And you can actually get those fundamentals any way you want. So you do not have to register to the 4 weeks bootcamp. It's one way of getting those fundamentals, not the only way. I'm not very familiar with the Cold Steel course on Udemy. I hear it's great. And so I will bet that it does cover the web development fundamentals. And I mean, you've heard Sandra talk about it. It's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And when we say JavaScript, it's about, the fundamentals of programming, also DOM manipulation. If that doesn't mean anything right now, it should mean something by the end of the course. And so, yeah, the point is you can very likely find an equivalent online on Udemy to what we do with 4 weeks. And of course, choosing the 4 weeks will probably be because you want to be in that, structure. You want to be with other students. You want to have an instructor to help you out. But as I said, we really care about you getting the skills first so that you can then join our front end or full stack bootcamp.
hmm Lovely. So I saw another one, blockchain technology from Ramsey Garcia. Well, we don't cover blockchain and crypto technology, but you will be able to work with such companies as a web developer because all of those crypto companies have websites and a lot of them have mobile apps. So you'll be able to get your foot into the door of that industry, so to speak, if you learn the basics of web development, to the point where you'll be in entry level. Um, you can do a lot with crypto APIs, and you can even build your own app to pull in that data from a lot of those services. So that's worth looking into.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we skipped a question from Doc. Um, Doug and Jim, actually, Doug Volts and Jim Adams, regarding the Saturday sessions and how to think about Saturday versus rest of the week. So for Jim's question regarding the flexibility around the workshops on Saturday, um, what's required of students is really to work on the weekly assignment, submit that assignment so that it can be graded by your instructor. That's the requirement. Missing the Saturday session will actually remove a lot of the value that we bring to the table. So if you cannot join on Saturdays or most Saturdays, you will be really missing, I'll say 50% maybe, or not, if not more, of the value that we bring, because that's the moment where you get to connect with your fellow classmates. You get to discuss how you're going to collaborate together. You get to ask your questions live to your instructor. You're really placed into that environment where you have to do the work on your own or with your classmates, and it's really challenging. That's when a lot of the learning happens. So we don't require it, but we extremely strongly suggest that you do your best to attend. We won't prevent you from signing up, but we'll really warn you that that may not be the right approach if you really can't join on Saturdays. And then to connect with Doc's question, are they available for questions during the week? Are instructors available for questions during the week? Yes, absolutely. They are available. They're available on Slack. They're available via direct message. They're not available live. So you could actually wait, half an hour. You could see another instructor actually chiming in and responding to your question. You could see the community also helping. Actually, we see that a lot. We see the community really helping one another. But your instructor is available for yourself and your classmates during the week as well.
Awesome. So I saw another question from, I think it was Tawana Martin. Do you accept payment from unemployment training programs? I think I'm going to leave that one for you, Ludo.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. We've received checks, wires. The best way to do that is to email us at studentadmin@nucamp.co. And it's pretty much a one, it's a one-by-one case processing. So we'll process your case. We'll talk to the people that want to pay for your registration. And yeah, we've done that before.
Okay, and Mi-an was saying you're currently enrolled in the fundamentals, and you haven't started yet, but you're contemplating if you'll take the same course for fundamentals. Not sure if this is practical. I'm not sure if Ludo already covered your question. Like he said, you can learn the fundamentals anywhere if you like. But if you're not sure if you're ready to join Fullstack, there's a little quiz at our frequently asked questions FAQ page, and you can take that. And if you get an 85% or higher, you can just go ahead and sign up for Fullstack or front end. But you can learn the fundamentals anywhere you like and then skip that. It's just if you need the structure and the motivation of being in a course with a deadline, then we recommend the fundamentals.
That's right. And we also skipped Giovanni asking, hey, if I don't have in-person near me, can I just do online? The answer is yes, absolutely. You can actually register to our, what we call our regional communities or time zone-based communities. So we have 3 right now. If you look for online Eastern, online Central, and online Pacific, you can just register there. And of course, pick the time zone that works for you. And you'll be all set.
Sweet. And Tawana also asks if I'm new to tech, do I have to take the pre-courses? Currently taking free courses. Good job. So stay on course if the free courses are working for you. Giovanni, how can I talk on the phone with an advisor? You can go to nucamp.co and click on Meet Us.
Yeah.
Nucamp.co/meet us. And there
Or
you'll be
just click
taken.
interested, actually, Zandra. If they click
Oh, yeah.
interested on the bootcamp,
Hmm?
they'll also be assigned an advisor.
Okay, sweet. So plenty of options. I think I skipped Eslam. Hassanin, are the projects in Fullstack connected to each other? Maybe Ludo, you'd like to address that one?
Yeah, no, of
If
course. So they are absolutely connected to one another. The way our curriculum works is every week you actually build up and add on to what you've built the previous week. So it's not what some people will call a tutorial hell. Like we don't throw at you a new tutorial. You don't do a tic-tac-toe app or page on one Saturday and then a Google Maps on another Saturday and then a to-do list the next Saturday. It's not a series of disconnected experiences. We guide you through the building of an actual production-ready website, then mobile app with the backend every week. So that's the approach.
Okay, and Tawana, good questions. A lot of good questions here. Do we have to do a behavior interview and technical to get into the program? No, that is not our thing. That's kind of gatekeepy approach. We feel everybody is adults and you're getting a service and you are able to assess what you need with the help of an advisor and decide whether or not you want the education that we offer. So we're not investing in you like some other boot camps are treating you as a financial instrument with ISAs. So we don't have to extremely carefully vet and screen and be super picky about who gets into Nucamp as some kind of exclusive thing. So don't worry about that. But if you do have questions and you'd like to talk to one of us, please click that interested button on the course of your choice.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That was really well put, Sandra. Do we receive, so question from Elizabeth, do we receive certificates for any of the course? So yes, a certificate per course, and then a certificate at the end of your bootcamp. And as I mentioned briefly earlier, you'll get a certificate of completion for completing the bootcamp. You'll also be given an opportunity to apply to our certificate with honors, and that will involve really making some additional work on your project, your personal project.
Good job. Let's see. Do you guys guide us through a job search toward the end of the cohort from Malaysia Woods? Thanks, Malaysia. So we guide you, yes, on your job search. And towards the end of the cohort, it's kind of on the students to start from now, I would say. Start from today, making your target employer list, as I already briefly touched on. Start thinking about and making a list of um, your previous employer, your current employer. Who do you know? Who are the last 10 people that you texted in your phone? Scroll back through that. Where do they work? List all those companies in a spreadsheet and just start Googling them, looking at their job postings and seeing what's in the requirements section of their job postings, and just see what technologies keep recurring, and write that down and start doing LinkedIn connection requests. Start DMing people on Twitter. Start start researching these companies, and kind of be a little bit stalkerish, stalker-ish, and look for these opportunities, and that'll really help you a lot when you get towards the end of the cohort. You do get your career planning course, and that you can take online. I believe you can start that anytime. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ludo. Um, or do you have to wait till after graduation to start the career planning?
We make some of those services available a month before. So yeah, you don't wait until the last moment to get prepared. You get an advisor, a career coach after graduation, not before. Hey, I'm going to do something special. I'm going to try to answer 3 questions at once. Let's see if I can do that. So Randy is asking about joining on the West Coast when he lives in the East Coast, because that's more that's simpler for him from a time standpoint. And yes, Randy, you can absolutely do that. It's actually quite the smart way to approach it. Yi Han is asking about career services and if they work in Canada as well. Uh, some of them do, some of them don't. So we don't reach out to companies, hiring companies in Canada, for example, but you will still have a career coach, even if you live in Canada. And to Kevin and Tawana, hey, I'm on Career Karma as well. Let's connect there. That's it. I just did it. 3 questions.
Nice. Okay, very good. Uh, so thank you, Susan Oliver, for posting about tutors. That's very cool. See, we already have a nice, kind community here. Um, Karen, about did you just address the one-time payment? Let me
Yeah.
see here.
Let me pick one as you're looking. Dave is asking about us. Do we still have in-person camps happening, or is everything virtual? And right now, everything is still virtual. I mean, we were online during the week, no matter what. What we had to bring online was the Saturday workshop sessions that were in person before COVID. Um, we will bring those sessions in person after COVID, and we think that after moment hopefully will be in the fall of this year. So we're kind of gearing up towards that, like in all likeliness, not earlier.
Thanks. So I lost my place because I was scrolling through the chat. But Lawson Williams, you asked a lot of jobs are looking to hire people who learn certain programs like Java. Do instructors go over stuff like that? So we don't teach Java, we teach JavaScript, and they're very different. It's an unfortunate naming choice there, but we teach JavaScript. Um, Programming. So yes, you will go over JavaScript with your instructor, and you'll be studying it. We recommend you study at least 1 to 3 hours per day. Uh, Some people are already have the basics, so they're not going to need that much time on certain parts of the course. Some people need, more time because they're not familiar with programming at all. So um, everyone's personality is going to be different as well. So just spend a lot of time on JavaScript when you do your homework
Right.
assignments and practice. Also,
I'll pick. So Ivan, we talked about Ivan being denied despite a good credit score. So Ivan, I see your answer that actually you don't fall into the categories that I described. So if you wouldn't mind, Ivan, sending me an email personally, uh, you should have received information from Climb Credit, right? The email that they sent you that said, hey, you don't qualify. Can you forward that to me at ludo, Ludo at nucamp.co? Because I want to look into that and see where things, how did that happen, right? Because it's really not a good thing if that's, if we don't understand what happened here. Thank you.
nice. Great. And also, Catalin Goblios, sorry if I murdered your name there a little bit. Most developer jobs remote. I travel a lot trying to find something that I could do from anywhere. Also, I have 4 GB of RAM. Is it possible to complete the course, or do I really need 8 GB? So I get the remote thing a lot recently. Um, there are a lot of remote developer jobs, and they're increasing due to COVID. People are re-examining the whole remote thing. Um, but uh, sometimes with remote, there is the issue of trust that just hangs people up. They don't know how to implement remote working successfully. So employers really put a lot more trust on more experienced developers. So please don't expect to get a remote job right out the gate. But on the other hand, it is a lot more common now since COVID. So I can't really comment either way. If you're, it def I can't say if most developer jobs are remote or not. But also the RAM issue, you really want to have 8 GB of RAM as a minimum. And if you buy something new nowadays, it's probably going to be 16. So really think about what you can do, and you can apply to the Career Karma laptop. Um,
Great. Hey, I'm going to try to do a blissed answer here again. We are 5 minutes from 10. So there was a question about, hey, do we have job placement assistance or career services when you just right after web development fundamentals, the 4 weeks bootcamp? The answer is no. I mean, there is no real, there's no real opportunity for someone who's just learned to code in 4 weeks to get a job in the industry. I mean, that will not be realistic. So the career services are really only for the 17 or 22 weeks boot camps. The question from Karine, indeed, there is just a one-time payment for the 4 weeks boot camp when the other boot camps are on a payment plan, a monthly payment. And then the next question is, can we pause? I mean, we talk about pausing courses. And so, yes, we understand that sometimes life happens. And so for just $39, you can pause your bootcamp and start again 5 weeks later. And you can do that, many times. We don't encourage it, of course, but it's out there for you. Because again, sometimes, something happens and you can't stay concentrated or focused on the bootcamp. And so you just push it out by a few weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Zandra.
Oh no, I was gonna say, to Eden, the next Fullstack date is February. Is it February 18th? I believe we want to get that in there before we close down.
Yeah, and if you register for the 4 weeks bootcamp, the next one that's going to start in February, you'll be actually then finishing just 1 or 2 weeks before the full stack starts. So there's always a continuity, like you don't have to wait too long, and there's going to be the next full stack or front end starting right after it.
Right on. I think we pretty much covered. Well, we got one about sound engineer. No, we don't cover sound engineering for Eros DD. Let's see.
Ivan, yes, if you live in California, you can register East Coast and wake up super early. That'll work as well.
Maybe one last one. JL, the hardware and software requirements. Go to nucamp.co and click on our FAQ. We have everything listed there with some suggested laptops.
All right, 3 minutes left. Let's see what else we can tackle here.
Sorry, I kind of went out of order.
No, that's okay.
Great pretender, any support after graduation? Yes, click on career services at our website. We do give you a lot. You get a lot with the tuition.
My cat's name is Magic. Yeah, I saw it move behind me here. And my kids want a second one, and I'm fighting it, but I think I'm losing that battle. So we're gonna have a second one pretty soon. Other classes live from Kelly? Yes, on Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the time zone that you choose. It's 100% live, 4 hours long. All right, I think that's pretty much covers it.
Oh yeah, Caitlin, if you found the test easy, then that's great.
Well, there is that question from Lone Housewife one. Okay, that's a good, interesting name. Difference between Warrior Rising and Reskill America. To qualify for Warrior Rising, you have to be a veteran or active duty member. To qualify for Reskill America, you actually have to qualify first to Career Karma's Reskill program, and there's a laptop there. You cannot apply for 2 scholarships with us. So you'll have to pick one. If you're a veteran who needs a laptop, you'll have to decide, okay, am I going for the laptop or am I going for the Warrior Rising one? Mm-hmm. Ryan, what other bootcamps will you be launching soon? So we sent actually a survey recently. Thanks everyone, actually, if you were one of the ones who answered. Right now, Python is looking pretty good. So we may actually work on that pretty soon, but I wouldn't wait too long because that's going to take us a while to build it and ship it and recruit for it. So, but Python looks pretty good right now. All right. Hey, Zandras, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a real pleasure as always. Thank you everyone online. Remember, early bird ends on Monday. register before that to get the best price. And so I hope to see you soon in our bootcamps. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.